Hey, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Max Eddy, and this is Sasha Segan. It's 2014, and we're going to run down the top tech stories of the day, answer one of your questions, and show you one cool thing, which is right here, actually. But let's just get right into the news. CES is coming up. It's going to dominate our lives and probably yours for the next couple of, well, I guess the next week. Sasha, what can we look forward to?
Well, we're starting to hear about a lot of the products that are going to be coming out at CES, which is the big consumer electronics show in Las Vegas, biggest electronics show of the year, happening all of next week, basically. Some of the stuff that we've looked at already or heard about already is, for instance, in cameras. There's going to be a lot of interesting niche, high-end digital cameras, but the low end of the digital camera marketplace seems to be just fading away, and that is the area. The cheap point and shoots, that's really the area the camera phones are killing right now. That's a big deal in 2014. In TVs, well, we just saw the leak of the LG WebOS TV. Makes all of us who loved WebOS in 2009 very, very happy. It's got that cards interface. But there's going to be lots of 4K, lots of curved screens. In laptops, we hear 2-in-1s, 3-in-1s, tablets that convert to laptops, laptops that convert to tablets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And apparently everybody's making Chromebooks, which is a product that I just have not seen the attraction of whatsoever, even though I am using one at home right now, so I can try to figure out the attraction of it. But I don't know, maybe Google's pouring money into it, but lots of Chromebooks at CES this year.
Are we seeing any kind of like hints at surprises that might come out, like a 4K curved television Chromebook or anything like that?
Yeah, a very chromy 4K curved television. I don't know about that. One of the areas that we are, that I'm keeping personally a close eye on, of course, is mobile phones and tablets. I'm very interested to see Asus has been teasing a combination Windows-Android devices because they like to combine things. Asus is all about transformers. So I'm very interested in seeing that come out. And of course, we're keeping an eye on Samsung and all the other big guys. Any hints towards the Galaxy S5 or you know, the LG G3 or anything like that will be highly scrutinized at this show.
Well, we have a lot to look forward to, and you can follow us, our live coverage, I think, at the PCMag Live Twitter, and we'll have lots and lots of stories in the coming days, so look forward to that. We're going to move on to T-Mobile's CEO John Legere, excuse me, John. He's hinting at an Uncarrier 4.0, which is, I think, his vision for what T-Mobile is going to be in the future. He teased this on Twitter the other day. He ran through his checklist for last year, and he gave us some hints of what's coming up. What is he talking about? Yeah,
this is going to be one of the big announcements at CES. T-Mobile has a press conference on the Wednesday, I think it is, of CES, and Ledger has announced Uncarrier 1, 2, 3, which were things like no more contracts, free international roaming data, big stuff that really changed the industry and made all the other carriers race to catch up. And now he's saying he might unshackle the family.
Right.
Now, a lot of people before seeing this list thought that he was going to offer to pay the early termination fees of people switching from other carriers. But now we're thinking this has something to do with family plans. And now, and we're all asking basically, what could T-Mobile do to change the realm of family plans? And I'm coming up a blank right now, but it's something that you guys should really think about between now and Wednesday.
His last point was something about messing with AT&T, and my thought was maybe some kind of like cross wireless carrier where you can get on there if you have another carrier as well, but I don't know, that seems too crazy.
Well, in his advertising, T-Mobile and Ledger have generally just poked AT&T a lot, spent a lot less time paying attention to Sprint and Verizon. So the question is, you know, will they continue with AT&T being the big villain this year?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can hope for something like that. So the other story we've been looking at today is that Snapchat was hacked. Its 4.6 million users' information was leaked. That includes phone numbers and usernames. Apparently, this was done by a kind of hacktivist group that wanted to raise attention to the fact that Snapchat had not fixed a known problem with their system. They did redact the last 2 digits of the phone number, so there is some protection for the people whose information has been exposed, but it's still quite scary. I don't know if this hit you. I checked this morning, but I seem to be in the clear.
I don't Snapchat, so there you go. But you can look and see if you've been hacked by going to lookup.gibsonsec.org. There are a couple of other lookups on the web. One of the fun things about searching through this database is you can see how silly a lot of people's Snapchat user IDs are.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you think Snapchat is not used for sexting, okay, look at some of these user IDs, okay? But The number one thing to learn from all of this, of course, is give services the minimum information they need to function.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't let them keep your credit card number, then your credit card number will not be leaked. If you don't let them keep your phone number, then your phone number will not be leaked. Why does Facebook ask for your phone number?
Well, there's a number of reasons
That
why
is something that drives me nuts.
I mean, there's a number of reasons why these guys ask for your phone number, because everyone has mobile phones. It's a way to identify a single individual. Advertisers want that, developers want that, everybody wants it. And I completely agree with you that we should be keeping this information private, but a lot of the times you don't have a choice. Sometimes these apps will collect that information, and sometimes you can't really stop them from doing it.
Yeah, and in that case, just like the folks who got their credit card stolen at Target, which was something you could basically do nothing about, you know, it's a tough neighborhood out there on the internet. It's full of crime, and sometimes you're just going to get mugged.
Absolutely, and I'm all for shaming companies for doing bad things, but I'm a little bit wary about this method for exposing this problem. I think this probably puts a lot of people at risk. But all right, let's move on to a reader question. Today we're talking about Google Voice. We received an email from Leighton. He wants to know if the latency issues with Google Voice has cleared up recently.
This is in regards to something that our analyst Jamie Landino wrote last year, where he tried to use Google Voice as his primary phone number, but it has this whole talking to Mars problem, where if you are using a phone to call through a Google Voice number to someone else, typically there's this unacceptable delay on the conversation. Okay, and this varies depending on what phone service you're calling from, what phone service you're calling to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Jamie checked again recently. It has not been fixed. In fact, we are speculating that the whole calling through a Google Voice number from your phone thing is something that Google has not actually been working on for months and might end up terminating because there has been so little progress on this issue. So we really do not recommend at this time replacing your traditional phone number with a Google Voice number and calling through the Google Voice service as your primary method of phone calling.
So if you want to have a method to call somebody else or make the really cheap international calls that Google Voice promises, what would we recommend?
Well, you can make cheap international calls through a lot of different services. I mean, there are calling cards you can use. There are VoIP services you can use. You can also use, you can use Google Voice sparingly.
Right.
It's just an issue of you have to expect latency from Google Voice and not to use it for all of your calls.
Yeah, my favorite thing to use Google Voice for is actually free texting, and I set up Grandma for texting on her iPad, so text me, Grandma. All right, so we're just going to move on quickly to the one cool thing, which is right here, and this is the Affinia H479 3D printer, and it's $1,399. And what does it do, Sasha?
Well, we've been reviewing a lot of 3D printers here at PCMag recently, and this is just a really easy to use, very complete 3D printer package. The only downside here is that it has a relatively small printing bed, and it tends to print extra little supports on things that you then have to cut off or file off. Like if you look at the underside of Yoda's ear, there's a little bit where you filed off a support. But it's got very good sort of seamless one-step software for printing your 3D objects. It's Windows and Mac compatible. It works with relatively standard, affordable spools of product. There aren't a lot of tricks necessary. You just send your file through the software. You have to put down some blue masking tape here for the thing to stick to, and then it prints your Yoda head. But one of the things about 3D printing for me is that these guys are saying that it's really for things like education and prototyping, but we're still so early in the 3D printing realm that these are very much all experimental products.
Yeah. We see a lot of stuff that we print in the labs, and it all looks really cool to me, but I haven't really seen like a practical application that would move beyond hobbyists right now. They are cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I asked our 3D printing expert, Tony Hoffman, who 3D printers, whether 3D printers will start to threaten any other industries in the near future, consumer 3D printers. And he said they're pretty much only going to threaten the Yoda head industry.
Well, if you're in the Yoda head industry, keep an eye out. This one is coming for you. This is the Affinia H479 printer, and it's pretty cool, and we're glad to bring it to you today on PCMag Live, and that's all for the show. So tune in tomorrow, and we'll see you there.